Welcome back to a brand new episode of Gen Z BTC. It's me, Satoshi Guapamoto, and today I have a very important message for you. If you didn't know, now you know. Bank of America is just not as good as Bitcoin, and I've got a couple reasons here for you. Let's start out with the first one and the reason why I'm making this video in the first place. Bitcoin is better than Bank of America because Bitcoin doesn't go down for 6 hours and show everybody that they have zero on their balance, and they actually have some transparency. Whereas Bank of America has been down for almost half the day and they have not said a peep. That's because either they got hacked or there's some weakness in the financial markets right now and someone might be in a little bit of trouble. They might be in hot water. We'll end up seeing what they say when they actually give an official statement. I'm sure they'll cook the books a little bit. That's what they're doing right now because they can't come out with any bad news. People would lose more and more trust in their institution. And then they would go broke because there would be a bank run and then they would need a bailout. So we'll see what ends up happening. But Bank of America is down today. My Bank of America account says zero in there, which is all good because I really only have real money, right? I really only have BTC. So I'm not greatly affected by this. However, the people who need to pay their rent, pay their car note, pay their credit card, pay their other outstanding bills, they're in big trouble and they are begging for their money in the bank, right? They're begging for their money and they cannot get it. They cannot get their money out of the bank. Let that sink in. Why is it that they can't get their money out the bank? Well, if we're going to be honest, it's not their money. Once you deposit money into a bank, right? I'm the depositor, you're the bank. I give you dollar bills. As soon as I give you the dollar bill, you are the owner of the money, not me. I've lent money to you. So if you were to tell me, hey, I don't have the money anymore, you lended it to me and I lost it, right? Then I'd be in big trouble because I have no money. And technically you'd be in big trouble too. But that's because you're an individual. But when you're a bank that's too big to fail, all you do after losing everyone's money is you go to the Federal Reserve and then you ask for a bailout. A bailout is when the Federal Reserve essentially prints the money that they lost, right? The money that went missing, and then they fill it up for them. Once that money's printed, they start issuing some of the money back to you, whether that's through creditors or an insurance policy, whatever it is. Bank of America gets their money back, so they get to gamble, and it's on us, right? The losses are on us. The wins are for them, but anytime they lose, we foot the bill. Because when money's printed, we all get poorer and our purchasing power goes down. So let's go over a couple reasons why Bank of America is just not as good as Bitcoin. Let's zoom on through. Bank of America, centralized versus decentralized Bitcoin. Because Bank of America is centralized, sometimes they have certain advantages with being able to do fast transactions or a streamlined kind of interface or experience. But the issue with centralized networks is very similar to when Microsoft recently had that massive hack or outing a couple months back. The entire system crumbles under its own weight, right? Because they have a central point of failure. If one thing goes wrong for one person in one place at one time, it's going to crumble for everybody. The great thing about decentralization is that you would have to stop every single computer, not just one mainframe server. So with Bitcoin being decentralized, the Bitcoin network has not gone down in the last, I believe, 13 years, right? During its inception, its early years when not too many people were mining and there wasn't a lot of hash rate, I believe the Bitcoin network went down once or twice for about an hour or two. And again, this is way back in like 2009, 2010. And since then, smooth sailing, tick-tock, next block. 15 years without an outage, that's pretty dang good. The market cap of Bank of America is $304 billion. The market cap of Bitcoin is $1.2 trillion. Now, why is that important and why do I bring that up? It's because Bank of America was founded in 1904. This is over a 100-year-old company, and Bitcoin was started back in 2009. So we're looking at the difference between about 15 years and 100 plus years. And Bitcoin is already 3 times bigger than this mega bank that's been bailed out multiple times and that has screwed over hundreds of thousands of people. So I just find that very interesting. I think you'd find that interesting as well. Fees. Where do these fees come from? Well, they come in a couple different ways, but you're looking at 3 to 15% fees when you're doing something like sending remittance, right? When you're sending money outside of the country, especially, you're going to be hit with fees like this, whether it's from Western Union, Bank of America, Remitly, or whatever other service you're using, even something like PayPal. You're looking at extremely high fees in order to send money abroad. That's because they want to try to skim off a little bit of dollars off the top wherever they can. So if you're sending money back home, they have to get a big cut of that. All right. You're not going to use their service and not lose a lot of your purchasing power on the way. So if you're sending money to Africa, you're looking at about 15% fees. You're sending money to Mexico, you're looking at like 7% fees. You're sending money to Europe, then you're looking at about 3%, 4% fees. When you're looking at Bitcoin, the fees are significantly lower because the size of the transaction does not determine the fee. It's all about block space. And right now, block fees are extremely low. You're looking at, pennies on the dollar to send transactions of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Size of the transaction doesn't matter. I can send $100,000 for a $2 transaction fee. Does not matter. So it's not based on a percentage. It's just based on the amount of block space available at that time. Transparency. Obviously, Bank of America has been down for a while now, and we still have no word on what exactly is going on. Again, if they've been hacked, they'll never try to come out and say that because it'll make people scared. They'll move their money into something else. And it's not just Bank of America experiencing problems today. We got JP Morgan Chase experiencing some problems as well. And when it comes to transparency, literally they have a Bank Secrecy Act. Okay, that's real. You can look that up. Banks are very, very private. Right? They don't like to put out a lot of information because they don't want to cause any panic in the market. Because if people start to understand more and more how the banking system works, there might be more withdrawals and riots in the streets because they realize, oh, wait, these guys are actually stealing money from me every single day and they're making me poorer. Right? They're part of a larger problem. Whereas Bitcoin is fully transparent. You can literally go on the blockchain. Nobody can hide. You cannot hide any transactions, which is why whenever you hear someone say, oh, well, Bitcoin's for criminals, Bitcoin's only for thugs. What thug likes to get caught, right? This is a fully transparent blockchain. You cannot hide transactions. So if you're doing crime in Bitcoin, your coins can be seized and you can be found and arrested. So not exactly the best currency for criminals. I think a better currency for criminals would be paper dollars because once they're in your hand, they are a bearer asset and you don't know where they've been or where they're going. So that's just me though. That's just what I've observed. Bank of America can only be used really in the United States. It's the Bank of America. Whoa, who would have thought? Who would have thought, buddy? USA only, whereas Bitcoin is a global currency. You can take Bitcoin anywhere in the world and someone somewhere will accept it because as more and more people start to realize, wait a minute, this is the most valuable, the most hard money in existence currently. Right? This is something that's going to preserve my purchasing power a lot more than a US dollar. Credit risk, right? Bank of America has a lot of credit risk. They have the potential to default, which again, they can get bailed out. But still, there's the credit risk of Bank of America. There's the risk that they won't end up losing all of your money gambling, trying to invest in some sort of crazy, risky tech stock portfolio or whatever the case may be. There is trust involved with Bank of America. When I give them money, I'm trusting them that they're going to protect it and not be overly greedy or foolish and make a mistake. But people are overly greedy, they're foolish, and they make mistakes because they're human. So that's what ends up happening. Eventually you get 2008 type moments. You get all these different moments where banks end up crashing, all the people lose their money, their credit worthiness goes down, and you just have a big mess. Whereas Bitcoin, there is no one to trust. Bitcoin is trustless. Bitcoin is self-sovereign money, meaning that all the onus is on you, right? It's up to you to defend your economic prosperity. It's up to you to defend your keys. It's up to you to watch your Bitcoin and not lose it. There is no counterparty risk with Bitcoin. You're not trusting that the Bitcoin network doesn't turn on you or doesn't get greedy. It's just a mathematical algorithm. It's a system that continues to work to this day. Every 10 minutes is proof that the system is working. And as long as that system continues to work, there's no one to trust. Essentially, you're just trusting code instead of trusting people and a bunch of different managers and CEOs and CIOs and CFOs and CPAs and all these different people. There's a lot less trust involved, which makes it a lot safer of an asset class to invest in. Bank of America is Monday through Friday. You can't walk into the bank on a Saturday. It's not going to be anybody there. Bank of America is a 9 to 5 type of business. Bitcoin is 24/7. TikTok, next block. They're not waiting on anyone. This train stops for no one. It is all day long, all night long. You can move $1 billion on a Saturday night in the middle of some sort of global conflict. If you're feeling nervous about where your money is, you can move things around. You can transfer money to someone immediately across the world. You can't exactly do that with a legacy financial system like Bank of America. Inflation. Bank of America helps to contribute to the issue of inflation with the way that they print dollars, because they're also part of the larger system of central bankers, banks that are too big to fail. I already touched on this a little bit, but essentially mega banks print money, right? They buy U.S. treasuries like the Federal Reserve. They're the buyer of last resort. They buy U.S. treasuries, they buy U.S. debt, and then they print dollars, which makes everybody poorer. Bitcoin is hard money. There will never be any more than 21 million Bitcoins. If I told you that right now there's 35 trillion US dollars in existence, you would not be able to tell me how many dollars will be in existence the next year. It's not possible for you to do that. And if you think it is, you're either confused or you're a liar, because you cannot do that. Inflation in a US dollar system is highly volatile. The only thing that you can know for certain is that the inflation number will be higher, but you'll never know that exact number. Bitcoin being hard money means that the future is highly transparent and that the future is highly predictable in terms of the monetary policy. And then finally, Bank of America is predatory. A lot of these large banks are very predatory. What they do is they will try to get you to use their credit as much as possible. They'll offer the credit to you as much as possible. It doesn't really matter your level of income, as long as you're using that credit so that you can become further indebted to them. And this is how they get richer and richer, right? You use a credit card, you put a $200 balance on there, and then you're paying a 25 or 30% interest rate, which means that the bank is making 30% every single month, 30% year over year. That is absolutely insane. And this is part of how these guys get so rich. Furthermore, if by chance you were to overdraft, let's say you have a $5 overdraft, you're going to get hit with a $35 fee, thus putting you deeper into the hole that you're already in, because it's not really about trying to help you get ahead or get out of the hole. It's about making sure that they can capitalize off of your capital, right? Capitalize off of your use of their product. Another thing, they will literally charge you to have an account with them. They'll charge you $12 a month to have a Bank of America advanced credit account or advanced cash account, right? So that's another way that they try to skim a little more money off the top. They're literally charging you to have a bank account at Bank of America, while also charging you overdraft, charging you to send remittance, charging you 30% on any credit cards you have. It is genuinely insane, right? And the product itself is just horrible. So Bitcoin is an opt-in system. There is no coercion. There is no subversion. They are not trying to steal from you. There's no one to try to steal from you. There's no one to trust. There's no one to rob you. It's just Bitcoin. It's just code. It's just numbers. It's just zeros and ones. And this is the system that many people are choosing to trust, because they're finding out that these guys are just a little too slimy. They're a little too shady. So that's really all there is to it. These are just a few of the reasons why Bitcoin absolutely puts Bank of America in a body bag. And hopefully we all get our money unfrozen pretty soon, right? Because again, my thing is showing $0. Let me know if you guys also had an issue with this Bank of America hack that they're not calling a hack, that they're calling a glitch, or whatever they want to call it. And let me know if you like this video. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, ring the bell icon, and share this with someone who might find it interesting. Share it with someone who also had their Bank of America account hacked today. All right? And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Stack sats or die trying.